What's up, everybody?
And welcome to another episode of 161st and River. And this is the post trade deadline reaction, recap, whatever you want to call it, to what the Yankees did at the 2025 trade deadline. And, well, we have a lot to talk about. So, first, let's get to it. The Yankees had an early start to their deadline. They started last Thursday, when they acquired Ryan McMahon in the trade with the Colorado Rockies. They didn't send too much back for him, but they did acquire McMahon. We as Yankee fans have already seen the dividends that McMahon's defense is paying.
McMahon has
Been very good defensively. I know he had an error yesterday. I kind of attribute that to more of the wet grass.
and then he had the
He's had some big hits this week. Like, if you really think about it, like, McMahon has had, like, a surprising amount of big hits for a guy who, like, just got here. Like, he had the big hit off Wheeler on, what was that, Sunday, the double down the line. He had a couple big hits in the Rays series. Obviously, had the walk-off last night in a game the Yankees had no business winning the way they played it. But McMahon has been very productive so far. And I'm a fan of McMahon for right now. The defense has been great at third base. He's made a number of sparkling plays over there at third. The offense has not been a problem. He does strike out a lot, but he's also been putting the ball in play a lot. So that's a good thing to see. Now let's see how he does on the road. This will be the first time he's on the road with the Yankees, so let's see about that. He seems like a good guy, seems like a great clubhouse presence, and the way he does interviews and the way he talks to the media, and from what I've heard from people with the media, with the way he's kind of presented himself to them, has been awesome. So, hold on. Sorry about that. Um,
yeah.
Rosario.
Yankees acquired
Rosario. Um, last Saturday. Last Saturday they acquired Rosario to be an option off the bench for McMahon specifically, meaning McMahon doesn't do well generally against left-handers, and Rosario does. So that's a platoon advantage. Maybe you get to start against a tough lefty. The Yankees don't see a lot of left-handers coming up. I know the Rays series is all three right-handers. I'm going to post the series probables probably once we're done with this. And I have this produced and put up on socials. I'll do the series probables for the Marlins series. I don't think there's any left-handers for that the Yankees are seeing for a while. Or I think it's like 17 out of 19. So now it's what? 14, something like that. That they're not seeing left-handers. So that's a good thing. The Yankees have shown a little bit of a weakness towards left-handers, but the Yankees acquired Rosario. The Yankees acquired Slater. They hit lefties. Volpe's hit lefties this year. Stanton has hit lefties very well. Bellinger's hit lefties very well. Goldschmidt, for what it's worth, has hit lefties very well. The Yankees have a lefty platoon. The Yankees definitely have lefty options. Speaking of Austin Slater, Slater was acquired yesterday from the Chicago White Sox. Um, not much went back for him. This is another platoon option. Don't know how long he's going to be here. Obviously, and I'll explain why in a second. Because someone's going to have to be moved off the 26-man roster when Aaron Judge is activated next week. So, to my knowledge, no one on the 26-man right now has options. Like, Volpe has options to go to AAA. And if Volpe has another bad week, I could see them setting Volpe down and letting Caballero go to shortstop. I'll talk about that acquisition in a minute because I really like that one. That was a blindsider. Um,
So they have options.
but I think the most likely scenario is Slater gets designated for assignment. The reason I think that's the most likely scenario is because both Caballero and Rosario can play the corner outfields, which is where they had Slater. So it does make sense to have him on the roster. So Slater, I think, is here for a week, but he hits lefties very well.
So you never know.
This was the big one. I had this one in the drafts early this morning until Rosenthal broke it. But so for people who are wondering why I had the article ready, I had it written this morning and had it in like private. And once the trade broke, I just clicked publish. But David Bednar, or the Renegade, is heading to the Bronx. Very excited about this one. I've been a big fan of Bednar for a very long time. I love his walkout song. I love his nickname.
I really
Really like this trade as a baseball trade, as a trade. And the fact is, Cashman didn't give up a ton. Like, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna do a little bit about this because I think I owe Cashman an apology.
think
Very critical of him a lot of times this year. But the Yankees didn't give up a whole lot for Bednar. And I'm gonna pull up a tweet. I'm trying to find it. Someone just retweeted a minute ago, so I'm sure it'll be
in my
tweets. If not, I'll find it somewhere.
unfair into
The general manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates had other options, but for whatever reason, like the Yankees offer, even though it was like awful, the best for Bednar, which to me doesn't make sense.
but I'm not.
I'm not Ben Sherrington. And I will say this to Yankee fans who think right now, sitting here on July 31st at 10:11 p.m. Eastern,
If there is a
fan on earth right now that's going to sit here and bitch, moan, and complain,
about
Brian Mike Francesa complaining on his podcast. Well, they didn't get the impact bet, okay? Yeah, they didn't need to. Okay, their offense is one of the best offenses in the sport. I'm not worried about the offense. Even without Judge, they've been they're 4-2 without Judge. Now, I'm not saying they don't need Judge. That is not what I'm saying. Judge.
yeah,
This
that's really the
Yankee MO is. And yeah, there have been some innings.
there were a lot of them
Innings yesterday. There were a lot of innings actually Monday.
that
Just brutal to go through. Like 4-7 runs. There's no reason they should have played that game the rest of the way today.
and the fact that
They did. It's
horrible. They're lucky that
no New York Yankee player or for that Rays player got seriously hurt today.
the Rays
Didn't have a bench by the end of the game.
are fearless.
Beasley, who covers the Pirates, I forget what
Yeah, he's had
A great job covering the Pittsburgh Pirates for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Put this tweet out after Ben Sherrington had his media availability. All the GMs do, or president baseball ops, whatever you want to call them. They normally have a media availability, which is why I pushed this back because I wanted to hear what Cashman had to say. I was filing all at once because, of course, the game ends as the deadline's ending, or the game's starting to end as the deadline's ending. So I'm filing my post-game article. I filed two articles, one on Duvall, one on Caballero, and then the one that I'm going through with you guys on the screen, which is just like a general overview where everything is, where it's like, go read these. This is my full write-ups on all these players, of everything they've done. And in the off season, I'm gonna do obviously full write-ups on all their free agent and trade acquisitions, and then one article where they'll all be, and I'll just keep updating that because that seems to be working. But Ben Sherrington and all in large, just a little bit, since it's a little bit hard to see.
Ben Sherrington
And
told that he had
access to players ranked higher. One of them who I heard and I was very surprised when I saw the package going back. The Pittsburgh Pirates had a lot of interest in Carlos LaGrange or Lagrange, however you pronounce his name, a good pitching prospect in the Yankee organization. And I was kind of surprised that the only prospect to note was Rafael Flores, the catcher, going back to Pittsburgh.
I was
Very surprised about that.
and apparently
Sherrington confirmed that they had access to more and chose not to because they liked Flores. They got nothing. Like, they got Flores, cool, let's throw a flag. Cashman gave up nothing for any of these players. Like, okay, I shouldn't say that he gave up nothing, but of all the names that he could have dealt and teams could have asked for and held him,
and
did a, stood him up on. Teams could have held Cashman out till the 11th hour and been like, we're not trading this player unless you give us Jones or Lombard or Dominguez, et cetera, et cetera.
instead they didn't. Instead,
GMs, and one of them is a rookie GM, and we'll get to him in a minute. One of them's a complete moron in Ben Sherrington. And a lot of Pirates fans I communicate with on a daily basis,
you know,
I'm starting to see the picture of why they can't stand Ben Sherrington at all, because this sucked. Like, he had a horrible deadline. The Pittsburgh Pirates couldn't perform a sell-off correctly. So Yankee fans who want to complain and moan and want, Brian Cashman had a terrific deadline. I think the best deadline of anyone in the American League. If you want to say Houston because they got Correa back, okay, I can take that one. And no one else in the American League had a better deadline than Brian Cashman did. And I think Cashman did more than Houston did, because Houston didn't land the big time starting pitcher. I think Houston got an outfielder from Miami, but they didn't land the starting pitcher. They wanted Alcantara, they wanted Cease, and they wanted Joe Ryan. They got none of them.
you know, Ryan knew he
Needed Cashman knew he needed bullpen. He knew he needed a third baseman, and he completely revamped that bench. I mean, everyone's new on that bench. You went from having a bench of
an everyday bench.
Peraza, Gold,
Goldschmidt, and Estrella.
because obviously, and then there's another one, either Rice or Goldschmidt or Stanton or whoever's on the lineup is on the bench that day. Now you have a bench of Rosario, for now Slater, and Caballero. And it'll be interesting to see the way the Yankees use Jose Caballero, and we'll talk about that in a minute because I'm getting sidetracked. But my key to this is Brian Cashman operated this trade deadline with a sense of urgency, clearly. He wants to win. I know, and Andy Martino's right, because I had this confirmed to me, so I'm not going to knock Martino because he was right. I had it confirmed because I didn't believe him, so I checked in and I'm like, hey, is this true? And they're like, yeah, it's true. The Yankees wanted to do a soft buy at this deadline. That was the goal. They didn't want to trade Jones or Lombard or Dominguez or Rice, and they didn't. They kept the future intact and fleeced everyone. I think that's the most impressive part of the trade deadline. If you're asking me, from what the Yankees gave up to what they brought in, that wins the deadline to me. Because we could talk about Padres getting Mason Miller, and I was upset. I liked Mason Miller. Then you see the package San Diego gave up for him, and it's like that's not even worth it. Like Miller has not been the reliever he was last year, this year. That's not worth it. I know they got JP Sears back, but it's JP Sears.
Um, other than that,
Cashman did a good job. He really did. And like I said, the future's intact. Teams wanted Rice. Teams wanted apparently
Williams.
Williams. You could take Williams, okay? Get flying the fuck out of here. All right. Better as of late. July has been a mess. He's a mess. I guess him and David Bednar are good friends, so hopefully, like Bednar, stays away from him and doesn't rub off on him.
Anyway, like I was saying, Ryan Cashman
Not giving up much is good.
and
That Jake Bird. I reported last week the interest, or on Monday, the interest. So I didn't do another full write up because it's the same. So I reported the interest and reshared my interest article when Curry broke the trade. They acquired him from the Rockies. He is signed through 2028. That's the other thing that I'll point out with this. Cashman making all these moves, and they're great moves.
not giving up a
ton.
They're open too.
Only two guys he brought in that are free agents after the year are Amid Rosario and Austin Slater. And Austin Slater is probably not on this team Tuesday. So really, Amid Rosario.
Caballero.
I'll get to Caballero.
Keep saying that. I'm
really excited about that one. Jake Bird is what people are calling the new Tommy Kahnle. Comes in from a team. He is the Matt Blake experience, a Matt Blake experiment. Every year we get one. He is the Matt Blake experience experiment. Why I keep saying experience.
last year it was
Santos, I think it was, and he was cut within 2 days. He gave 9 runs to the White Sox, and they're like, "All right, you're no good." And now then he served up meatballs to the Yankees in that great comeback down in Atlanta. So that's good. Jake Bird has a little bit more of a high upside. The ERA is high. The ERA as of late is high. The ERA on the road is high, but this stuff looks good. He has been a Coors merchant. His ERA is 2 at Coors. His ERA is 7.5 on the road.
the Yankees
Better work cut out for him with Bird.
But they can do it. They can make the move to
Bird. Now, they're going to have to fix him. Matt Blake has shown time and time and time again that he can do that. It's on Matt Blake. It's all on Blake. This is one where I could see him, being up and down, up and down. Hamilton just got sent down, and De Los Santos, who threw a ton of pitches today, got sent down. There's probably another move, I think, to put someone else in the bullpen, unless they're optioning Bird to AAA and then calling him up later on. I could see that. I don't know. Next,
the Yankees.
Oswald Peraza. I have to go back and finish that.
Peraza was emotional. He said he didn't
expect to be traded.
It was hard
for him to take the uniform off, and
kind of got
dealt a raw hand here in New York. And someone put that out. A lot of teams viewed Peraza as a good commodity to get at the deadline because of the way the Yankees handled him, and they handled him like crap.
And I agree with that. So
Jose Caballero
was playing a game at
Yankee Stadium today, as I wrote. I was trying to be a little humorous. He played a game today at Yankee Stadium.
for the race, and then in the
Middle after the rain delay. Today must have been one of the wackier days I've seen in baseball because it's like 20 the trade deadline's happening. It was like the home stretch. It was the 11th hour of the trade deadline, and I'm like refreshing Twitter, trying to cover the game, trying to tweet out. Nothing's working because everything's slow. I'm trying to file articles, and then that comes in from Curry. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like trying to read it. I'm like, wait, for Everson Pereira? I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm trying to digest it. And then Michael K's like, well, I think we have a trade. Apparently, the player hadn't even been told he was traded before Curry broke it, which I think is hilarious. So here's the watch video.
And soft away. And he is executing.
Well, the Yankees, according to Jack Curry, have just made a deal. And it's funny because the guy's playing first base. The Yankees have acquired Jose Caballero from the Rays for Everson Pereira and a player to be named later. So Caballero will be pulled from this game. He will only have to walk from the third base side to the first base side to meet his new team. He's tied for the Major League lead with 34 stolen bases. Walls goes down on strikes. Well, he's being told.
I will say this.
Kevin Cash looked just completely thrilled to be there all day.
Like, if you see pictures of
Kevin Cash all day today, he just looked so
thrilled. So thrilled. I mean, really,
he did.
I'm proud of him. Like, I think Dean kind of
Mentioned this in his post-game media availability that he was like hoping they called it, and they were all like watching like MLB Network and the trade deadline stuff. Like that's hilarious.
And like, I guess
Devin Williams has the fastest phone there, according to Stanton, to try and refresh things.
anyway,
Always a great pickup. He's a defensive wizard. He leads the league in stolen bases or tied for the league anyways. He's doing very good defense a little bit with the bat, so I'm sure he can do that. Great utility player. He's probably the replacement for Oswald Peraza, and he's a great replacement for Oswald Peraza. I really like the move from a depth perspective. We'll see what he does with the bat. I don't know if he's going to be here and they're going to send Volpe down, and that's the plan. It's also important to note Caballero has control for a while and has been a solid player for a while. I could see him being an impact guy on this roster. Come in, steal a base, kind of cause trouble. And he's someone who, if you bring him in to steal a base, you bring him in to pinch run for Rice. He can go play them first base. And then if there's a big spot later on in the game, you could trust him with the bat. You don't have to pinch hit for him, where they would have with Peraza, if we're being totally honest. And then the big one, the buzzer beater, Camilo Duvall. I like Duvall a lot, actually. I've liked him and liked his profile for a while. He walks way too many guys. That's the problem. But so does Fernando Cruz. Fernando Cruz has been, when he's on the field, one of the better relievers in baseball this year. And Duvall has that ability to be one of those great relievers. So, acquiring Camille Duvall at the last second, the buzzer beater, is unbelievable. This bullpen went from a bunch of raggedy guys who it's like bombs away out of the Yankee bullpen to there are 4 guys you can trust. In my head, 3, but 4 that you can trust to hand the ball in the ninth inning of a one-run game and it get done.
There are 4 guys that
You can trust. There are 4 guys that are on this roster right now that have done it and have done it well and done it multiple times.
Devin Williams,
Who I already said I don't love him. Luke Weaver, he's done it.
Camilo Duvall, he's
Done
done
it.
And finally,
David Bednar, he's done it. Now, obviously, for Bednar and Duvall, let's see how they adjust to New York. Obviously, for some people, it's easy.
for some people it's not. You know, for
He's adjusted to New York very, very well. I think that's something the Yankees need to take into consideration heading into the offseason. He will be a free agent.
I think if they
Resign
someone from the bullpen now,
now that's going to be a free agent. I think they're more likely to re-sign Luke Weaver than Devin Williams.
I'm very confident.
Confident saying that. I don't think they like Devin Williams. I don't think
You know, he's
not
not
as advertised. He just simply is not as advertised. Now, has he been a butcher? No, but his ERA as a closer right now is 5, and you really don't love when the closer's ERA is 5.
now with that.
That being said, he's gotten the job done more times than he hasn't. He's been better than Holmes was.
But you know, now this person,
Really fortified.
Brian Cosby said,
We addressed a lot of the areas of need to take the best shot we can take, or to give us the best shot we can take. They were unable to come away with a starting pitcher at the deadline. He said he knocked on many doors, but it didn't avail itself. I said I think it's safe to say Brian Cashman and his team went to town on the trade deadline. I really do. He did a lot more than I expected. I expected a third baseman, a reliever or 2, and maybe a starter. He got a whole new bench.
he did a whole new bench.
Got 3 relievers.
2 of them were closers.
For other teams. Yeah. Think of it this way. Camilo Duvall was closing for the Giants. Up until like noon, they were buyers. And then Buster Posey, who's a rookie GM and got fleeced by Cashman, decided, let's sell because
Because this
it's not worth investing.
Brian Cosby
Clearly believes enough in this roster and in this team that he went out and did this. Now it's time for the guys in the field to go and do it. And I think that taking 3 out of 4 from the Rays, and it's very shadowed in this trade deadline that the Yankees just took 3 or 4 from a division rival, but they did. They won the season series against the Tampa Bay Rays.
they won
7, they're 7-4 against them.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yep, they have 2 games left down in Tampa. The Yankees
Yankees 7-4 against
the Rays this year.
the Yankees. Finally beat
A team in their own division in a big series. The Yankees gained a shit ton of ground on the Blue Jays. I think they were 6 games out on Saturday. They're 3.5 back going to bed on Thursday night.
And
What do the Blue Jays get this weekend? The Blue Jays have hit a skid. The Blue Jays did not do much at this deadline. Like, when I say much, like, obviously they went out and got, what's his face? They went out and got Shane Bieber. But he's not going to be available till September. They traded away that pest to the Yankees.
the whole thing was done.
Will Wagner. They traded him to San Diego. He's been a real pest to the Yankees this year, so good, get him off the roster. Oh, they're playing Kansas City, and they don't have a starter for tomorrow. The Royals are starting Michael Wacha in Game 1. Of course, at Rogers Center, they never lose there. They're actually not. What's their record? I'm curious to see their road record.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah,
This is what I thought. They're 27-29 on the road.
I mean, yes, they're 26,
27.
so they're 34 and 20.
22 at home. Three and a half back.
And 2.5, a game and a half up on Boston.
Boston
And Seattle playing
now.
Boston did nothing.
at the deadline.
So that's why I say
Be thankful of Cashman actually doing something. Boston did nothing. They got Dustin May, Woo,
and then they got some.
someone else. Steven Matz, I think his name is, from St. Louis. They did nothing. Nothing.
And
If they went and got like a good starting pitcher and a first baseman, they're going on a run. I thought that. I thought all season that the Red Sox had the potential to go on a run, and they just never, ever, ever did it. And that's on them. And you know what? The Yankees are a better team and a better run organization right now than the Boston Red Sox are, and that's the first time we could say that since 2009. The fact that the Yankees operated this trade deadline with the onus to win, where they didn't do that last year, and the Yankees had someone in right field who they knew they only had for a year.
and we know that we're going
Say his name on here.
but they only
Had him for a year and didn't act this aggressive. They act very aggressive today because there are players on this Yankee roster right now that honestly carry this team to the World Series. Ben Rice, great clutch player. Anthony Volpe has been hitting the ball a ton.
has been very
Offensively, the defense is an issue, but the offense has been great. Obviously, there's no
in the scheme of things.
of the game that was played yesterday against the Rays where Devin blew the save after the Yankees rallied
And Williams comes up
and blows the save.
there is no
Bigger hit
than Anthony Volpe.
tying the game off Fairbanks. There really isn't.
I don't know how.
I don't know what that of all guys, Anthony Volpe tied the game off of Pete Fairbanks, one of the better relievers in baseball.
And Miller
Tanked his trade value, if we're being honest.
is,
Anthony Volpe's not this, prime offensive player. If it was Judge, it would be like, all right, it's Aaron Judge. Like, okay, what are you going to do? That's on Kevin Cash for pitching to him. It's Anthony Volpe. He's not that great.
So Anthony Volpe
Tying the game off Pete Fairbanks is awesome. And then the back and forth, Jason Dominguez his Yankee career might have been saved by scaling that wall last night and showing them like, hey, I've been out here practicing, and he said it in his post games. I was always on the side I'd rather trade Jones than him. And a lot of teams have said that to the Yankees, where it's like, no, we want him and not Jones because we see more potential with Dominguez. And I think that heightened his value in the Yankees' head. We have to remember, he's a 22-year-old kid still learning.
yes, that was found
Footage of him practicing that very catch for the past week. It happened in the game, and he either robbed what almost was a grand slam
and made a stop.
fly, or could have been a double or a triple off the wall.
He saved the game. That's a game saving
Catch.
after
Luke Weaver got screwed on a non-strike call, and then the little blooping wall in play.
saved the game. Horrible at bat by Skip.
In the 10th inning to not put the ball in play. Horrible at bat by Jazz to swing at the first pitch and put no pressure. But then I can't get on Jazz because when they intentionally walk Dominguez, Jazz is smart by dancing off second and gets you say to a balk. And that, and it's just ended the game. It's like, all right, any ball in play is winning this one.
So I'm going to leave it
there. Yankees had a great trade deadline. Brian Cashman, awesome. Yankees show a sense of urgency. Let's get started with this Miami series and start it off right. Thank you. Have a great day. Let's go Yankees.